Good morning, this is News 5's Chad Petrie once again checking in outside the old Escambia County Middle School, where Atmore Police and the Escambia County, Alabama Sheriff's Office have been here since about 2 this morning for a very serious incident. We just got an update from Atmore Police Chief Chuck Brooks, who says that basically this was a high school graduation party that spiraled out of control. Really started as a regular party on Friday evening, but they were called out here at about 2 this morning, they say, for the report of gunshots. The police chief says when he got here, there was chaos. More than 300 people here in this area running around because gunfire had just gone off. When they finally got things under control, they were able to find one person dead in the cafeteria, and then 8 others who were hurt in this incident. Those 8 were all taken to Atmore Community Hospital. One of the 8 was then transported by Life Flight helicopter to Sacred Heart Hospital in Pensacola. In terms of suspects at this point, the police chief says that they know kind of who they're looking for at this point. They do not believe there is a danger to the general public in this. But one of the things that he really promised on this was that this was not going to happen again. He described this as a high school graduation party again that was posted on social media and then posted again, so a bunch of people came to this. While it may have been for a lot of students at Escambia County High School, he says that there could have been dozens or hundreds of people here from far away just coming to this party. Now, he says that this party was allowed. This is a community center. Essentially, it was allowed by the property owner, but they did not allow alcohol. That's one of the key factors here. He says that there was a lot of alcohol being served at this party, and so that is one of the things that kind of prompted this to spiral out of control. What we're told is that they shouldn't have had alcohol here to begin with. The police chief vowing that really this should not happen again. That when they passed by this area Friday, it seemed to be a calm, regular party, nothing to be alarmed about. But at some point, this just got exponentially worse. He said it started with a couple of women fighting and then escalated to more people fighting and then gunshots. In terms of who they're looking for, they haven't said, but a graduation party, again, spiraling out of control here at the site of the old Escambia County Middle School. Currently, it's being used as a community center, according to the police chief. And in fact, one of the things I noticed, I'm going to turn my camera around, and one of the things that I noticed when I first got here is that there's quite a few, and you can't see them all from here, but quite a few civilian vehicles as opposed to law enforcement vehicles here. That's an unusual thing to see at this place at this hour when there's really no activity going on. I presumed when I got here that this was from what we believe to be a party, and the police chief confirming that this was a serious incident in Escambia County, Alabama, in Atmore. The question now is, just who might be arrested for this? What really led to this escalation of violence? I mean, the simple answer is it was alcohol. Funny too, with all the chaos that happened with this incident. I was talking with a couple of neighbors who really didn't hear anything this morning. So just a sad situation, and also something that is extremely unusual for Atmore. To have a party party like this, certainly not unusual. The police chief says there are community events here all the time, but to have it escalate into this level of violence is very unusual. Yeah, if you want to say that underage drinking, yeah, that's another way to put it. Odds are that most of the people that were here for this were not of age to be drinking, nor should there have been alcohol served at this event in the first place, according to the police chief. Someone was asking what time did the shooting happen. Not entirely sure when the shooting happened. All I know is when police say they were called for it, which is about 2. Right, we should be clear, this was a high school graduation party, but the site of where it happened was on the site of the old middle school.
Narcotic. They'll wake up about 1 o'clock.
Kind of like the market. We just don't go to work. They call it here at night.
Yes, sir. As far as we know, this was a shooting incident. Okay, just
Make my guys
Oh.
nervous, so they ready.
all right, quick update from the police chief just to clarify any confusion that this was all gunshot. All the victim who died was shot, and the 8 others that were hurt, all the result of some sort of gun injury. Just to clarify, in terms of injuries, again, too, this is something they do not see often in Atmore, really, if at all. They have been out here for hours now. I didn't even check to see what time it was before I went live here, but 6+ hours, I think, at this point. I spoke with the police chief just a minute ago, who gave me a little bit more clarification in terms of how this went down. They believed whatever fighting started in the cafeteria, and then that just bled out into the parking lot. When they got here, they said they found just a bunch of people fighting, also, some of them dealing with gunshot wounds too, so it was a massive and unusually large scene here. And also confirmed from the police chief, those cars you see over there, that grouping, that's just the tightest grouping I have just to show you. But a lot of these cars out here in this facility, those are civilian cars, people that were part of this party last night, essentially a high school graduation party that completely went sideways. Again, I'm News 5's Chad Petrie. We are live outside the old Escambia County Middle School. I mean, there are many names that this place could go by. Some people have called it Atmore Middle School. There's a placard out here that says Escambia County Training School. So it is a well-known facility in Atmore. At present, according to the police chief, it is used as a community events center. Now, just to give you kind of a refresher, we got an update from Atmore's police chief Chuck Brooks a few minutes ago, saying that this was basically a high school graduation party that just spiraled out of control early this morning. Started with a call of shots fired to this facility. When police say they got here, it was madness. That there were people fighting in the parking lot, there were people who had been shot. It was just a chaotic scene, according to the police chief, when they arrived at about 2 this morning. When they finally got everything calmed down, they discovered that one man was dead. I'm going to turn around in the cafeteria, so it's that part of it behind me, that corner of the building, where one person had been killed. And then they discovered that about 8 others had been shot. Injuries, not sure about the extent at this point. I'll have to go back on the tape just to see what the police chief said at this point. But of the 8 people that were shot and survived, one person was flown to Sacred Heart Hospital. The police chief says that person was stable when they were flown. We don't know the condition really of the 8 who survived this so far. What they believe happened was that this was a high school graduation party, really a sanctioned event here at the Community Events Center, but unfortunately somebody got these kids alcohol, and the police chief says essentially that is what allowed this to get worse. It started with a couple of women fighting, then a couple of guys got involved, then gunshots. It's really a chaotic scene. They say that at this point no arrests have been made, but they have an idea of who they're looking for, and they don't feel there is a threat to the larger community here in Atmore. Also wanted to add that apparently this escalated because it was a party, sort of invitation that was passed around on social media. So even though this may have been a party for kids who go to Escambia County High School, a lot of kids from well outside the area, elsewhere in the region, were coming to this, so it was a lot of people here. Police chief said it was more than 300 when their officers arrived. And keep in mind, this is a very small town department having to deal with a very large scene here. I can't show you that perspective based on what I have here, but what I can show you is the fact that they are still here 6 hours in this investigation. That is astoundingly unusual for a crime in this town, essentially, because they are still here working on it, gathering evidence at this scene. So it was a chaotic scene when officers arrived. And right now they're trying to gather evidence and really get this situation settled. But again, they do not believe that there is a greater problem to the general public in this incident. The police chief says that this started really as a regular party last night. He said officers drove by last night, didn't see any problem, so it appeared to be okay. But apparently this party drifted well into the early morning hours. Alcohol was brought in at some point. We don't know when, but it made the situation worse. And now there's one person dead. We don't know who that person is, but it was the result of a fight that just kept getting worse here in Atmore. just going to walk to one end of the perimeter here and sort of wrap things up. But again, if you're just joining us, I'm News 5's Chad Petrie. I'm really on the perimeter of the old Escambia County Middle School. You can see police tape behind me. They've roped this area off. They have had it kind of sealed off since about 2 this morning as Atmore Police, members of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, kind of work through a very serious situation here, which was essentially a high school party that spiraled out of control early this morning. At about 2, they got a call for gunshots here. When officers arrived, just an out of control scene. Hundreds of people really on the lawn here fighting. Some of them were shot. When they finally got things calmed down, they discovered one man dead in the cafeteria area. 8 others had been shot. Those 8 were taken to Atmore Community Hospital. One of them was then life-flighted to Sacred Heart Hospital in Pensacola. In terms of the conditions of those 8, we don't know. And also, no arrests have been made at this point, but police do not believe there is a danger to the general public at this point. But they say it was supposed to be a graduation party. It was a graduation party that essentially spiraled out of control. A couple of factors at play here. Number one, they say alcohol. Somebody brought alcohol. They say a lot of alcohol is being served here. Another thing another factor is somebody put out an open invite on social media, and the police chief says that they believe this one slipped by them. Normally, he says they are kind of up to speed on these things, but this one spread and they were not aware of it spreading. So when they got here, it was essentially chaos. So again, too, you can see a bunch of the cars here still parked from that incident. People that were here for this party that should not have gotten as large as it did, shouldn't have been raging at about 2 a.m. and shouldn't have been drinking. But unfortunately, these things sometimes happen. I was talking with neighbors around here. A lot of people were stunned to hear about this. I get the impression that whatever happened here happened in fairly short order. Some of the neighbors I talked to said they didn't even hear anything, so it may have been pretty quick, pretty swift. I'm going to be wrapping things up out here, but we'll keep you posted on any other updates as we get them. Reporting live in Atmore, Chad Petrie, WKRG News 5.